Now the iPad mini is compact enough where it can fit almost anywhere. It has a powerful enough processor to handle many different types of tasks, and it has all-day battery life, all without you needing to carry something that's the size of a dinner plate. Whether you want to ramp up your productivity or maximize your downtime, the iPad mini 6 is all that and more. Now let's discuss why the best iPad for most people isn't the grand iPad Pro or even the lovable iPad Air, but it's often the most overlooked, compact, and mighty iPad mini 6. Now my name is Mike, let's get started. Now please do not get me wrong, I love my iPad Pro, but I don't always need the extra horsepower or that gigantic display that's found on the large 11-inch and 12.9-inch iPads. That is the strange thing about the iPad mini. It's the yin to the iPad Pro's yang, living at the opposite end of the spectrum. Now this strong contrast between the two devices makes it ideal if you are looking for a device that balances power and performance with portability. It's really kind of like the triple threat if you ask me. Whether you are ramping up your productivity or maximizing your downtime, the iPad mini is my go-to device. And who even knows, it might be yours too. Now let's discuss what makes the iPad mini so great, starting with the specs. The iPad mini 6 offers an immersive experience the very first time that you pick it up. That's thanks to the 8.3-inch Liquid Retina display. Now the display of the iPad mini has a 60 Hz refresh rate, which is good, but I'd love to see promotion in the next version, and we're going to talk about more about what I want to see in a future iPad mini later on in the video. Now some people who watch this video, they might experience jelly scrolling when they're using the iPad mini. Jelly scrolling is the visual artifact in where half a display refreshes slower than the other half, and it can be jarring if you are sensitive to that type of content. Now, I don't see it when I use my iPad mini. I gave the iPad mini to my wife, she doesn't see it, so it's very much a subjective thing. If this is something that you'd be interested in, you probably should go down and check it out in person before purchasing it. Now, the display is capable of reaching a peak brightness of 500 nits. This brightness level really provides excellent readability across a range of different lighting scenarios, making it ideal to use really almost anywhere that you might find yourself using it. Now that said, I would not take the iPad mini in direct sunlight at high noon on a bright sunny day because you're going to have trouble reading the display at that point. The iPad mini has two cameras, one in the front, one in the back, and they're almost certainly going to meet whatever your needs are. Now the 12 megapixel camera on the front has a wide field of view at 122 degrees and supports center stage. For those of you who are unaware, center stage is a software feature that Apple has on a lot of their iPads, even including their studio display, that keeps you in frame while on a video call using machine learning. Now I like to catch up with my mom on FaceTime while my son gets ready for school in the morning, and because the iPad is just not only so small and so easy to use, my son can pick up and move the iPad very easily and always stay in frame because center stage is going to track him. Now on the back of the iPad, there's a second 12 megapixel camera that has a flash for the iPad mini. But you really shouldn't expect anything like groundbreaking. Your image is not going to land on the cover of National Geographic or Time. Now the camera on the iPad mini also delivers impressive video recording capabilities. I like to use it while I'm just out and about in case my phone's not available to record video in high definition. Under the hood of the iPad mini is Apple's A15 Bionic chip. This features a 6-core CPU, 4-core GPU with a 16-core neural engine, really kind of a lot of cores to talk about. But as we put that number in context, the iPad mini 6 has the same chipset as the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Max. Now the A15 ensures a smooth experience no matter what you're doing. You could be editing photos in Lightroom, watching videos on YouTube, or even browsing the internet in Safari. I really think that games come alive thanks to the 4-core GPU. My favorite games to play are Asphalt Racing and Genshin Impact. And because these games are kind of high bandwidth games, they really kind of demand a lot from the iPad mini. The way that the iPad mini responds and the gaming experience on that is, I think, extraordinary. Besides the stellar computing performance, the A15 plays a significant role in the battery life. The iPad mini has about a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's going to give you about 10 hours of either web surfing or video playback according to Apple. Now, I own the LTE version, I always have, and I get about 2 days worth of standby time and about 7 hours of screen on time. Now, it's very easy to recharge the iPad mini because on the bottom there's a USB-C port. Thankfully there's no Lightning port. And it really just takes, you plug it in, it takes a couple hours to recharge the battery, and then you are good to go. Now that we're all on the same page with the features from the iPad mini, let's talk about how I use this device daily. Now, I'm someone who uses 2 iPads on a daily basis. Matter of fact, I'll link the video above in the cards here if you want to find out more about that. But I've owned the iPad mini 6 since its first launch in September of 2021, which means right now it's about 18 months as this video, and I use it every day. Now, at first, I was unaware of really the practicality about the iPad mini. And when I purchased it, I purchased 64 gigs Wi-Fi only, but I quickly became to realize and appreciate the compact nature of the iPad mini after using it just for a few hours. I like to think of the iPad in terms of couchability, and that's where the iPad mini really excels at. Couchability, you could describe it as how well something conforms to being used on the couch. Now you have an iPhone or you have a phone, it excels at couchability because its size and its one-handed use. Now the same really holds true for the iPad mini, making it ideal for all the same things that you use your iPhone for, but more. This makes the iPad mini ideal in scenarios where you go to reach for your phone, but you have the benefit of using a larger display. Like for me, I prefer the iPad mini here when browsing the web, whether I'm on the couch, whether I'm in line, watching my favorite TV shows in bed, or just catching up in meeting notes while I'm at the DMV. Now, take for instance, I had a long haul flight from Miami to Barcelona, and the iPad mini was my trusted companion for entertainment all along the 9-hour flight. Now, it was there while I was on my flight. I used it while I was at the hotel, or I used it while I was exploring the city. I was very easy to download an eSIM while I was in Europe, and I got going right away. Now, you shouldn't think that the iPad mini isn't any good at productivity-related tasks. Now, the iPad mini is handy when you're checking emails in Spark, maybe processing tasks in TickTick, or even using it as a secondary display when you use it at your Mac or with your Mac at your desk. And thanks to features like handoff, I can start an email reply in Spark on my iPad and then quickly shift to my Mac in a flash. Now, of course, the same works with any of my other devices, but let's circle back to what the iPad mini's main advantage is. It's going to be its size. It's the immersive 8.3-inch display compared to a 6.7-inch iPhone Pro Max is just a little bit more and more easier to use, easier to read. Now, drilling down into productivity, pairing the iPad mini 2 with the Apple Pencil upgrade its productivity potential to here, really. This combination allows you to quickly jot down ideas in the Notes app, flesh out concepts in free form, or even mark up documents in the Files app with precision and ease. Now, such as I can start taking notes on my iPad mini and see those changes in real time on my Mac as part of some of the features that are coming in iPadOS 17 this fall. I'll link that video above in the cards. Now, the iPad mini is not perfect. Now, when it comes to the display, there are two things I want Apple to go ahead and deliver in the next version. First, the iPad mini has a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch, making it really the highest density display that Apple sells. Now, while this might be true, the display can be really challenging for people to read with low vision, that or if you're like me, someone in their mid-40s who has really a hard time reading displays that small. But unfortunately, changing the scaling doesn't impact the readability on the iPad mini. So really first, what I want Apple to do is to improve the text and widget scaling across their devices. Now, in my mind, this is a significant gap across iPadOS, but it's very noticeable on the iPad mini because of how high the pixel density is. Now, the display is plenty bright for most conditions, but I would really think it'd be more valuable if it was brighter, making it more usable in direct sunlight. So second, I want Apple to bring a brighter panel like the 600-nit panel from the 11-inch iPad Pro down to the iPad mini. This would really make the iPad mini usable in more conditions than it is today. Now, there's several other features I love for Apple to add, like a higher refresh rate, like ProMotion from the iPad Pro, or even a better processor so that we could use the iPad mini properly with a display. I know that's a big one for a lot of people, but they would definitely impact battery life and impact the size of the device itself, which would impact cost. I really don't want to pay more for a device like the iPad mini that is not iPad mini Pro, but I want to know what your top 2 or 3 features that Apple should bring to the next iPad mini. Let's get the community going around the iPad mini. Down in the comments below, let everyone know what you want to see what you want to see Apple fix in the next iPad mini. Now, if you want to learn more about productivity, I have a video up here where I talk about iPad productivity with the iPad. I'll link in the cards above. My name is Mike. You want to make sure that you are subscribed for more content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.